Good morning, everyone. You are watching an abridged version of Channel 3 this morning.
That's right. We're having some technical difficulties this morning
Yeah.
out in our studio, so we're on the temporary desk this morning. Our capabilities, of course, obviously a little limited this morning, so just bear with us as we get through this.
Yeah, this is our effort to bring you today's news and weather. So we will start with our top story this morning. Immigration officials are seeking to ramp up surveillance of social media to enforce illegal immigration.
That's right. A draft proposal from the Fed shows Vermont could be the next hub for gathering information used for deportations. Calvin Cutler did that story, tells us what that could look like.
Are looking for information on whether to hire up to 30 private contractors to scour data 24/7 online for law enforcement leads, to locate people who pose a danger to national security, public safety, and to meet ICE's mission. It shows they would search the internet and collect, analyze, and evaluate criminal intelligence information, locate and provide person-specific location information, coordinate and prepare enhanced lead packages and other lead products for dissemination to field office personnel. They would also search publicly available data like names, addresses, and commercial databases out of the public view, and cross-referencing data, profiles, locations, and friends on private social media platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, TikTok, and more.
This is part of a mass surveillance state that's been growing for years. We've been trying to raise alarms about what might happen when this data might move from private hands into government hands and how that can be misused.
The Vermont ACLU worries it's a new strategy to ramp up deportations and erode Americans' First Amendment rights.
There's a massive imbalance right now when it comes to our data and our information, what is taken from us, what is sold, and then what we actually know about how it's being used.
I am almost positive that ICE has been doing some form of this. They are just making it a much bigger operation and much more public.
Amy Kegwin teaches about law enforcement's use of our personal data at Champlain College. She says law enforcement has been mining our data and information we willingly give away for decades, adding it's used in all kinds of investigations: immigration, murders, human trafficking, child exploitation, and counterterrorism.
You have to be able to prove all this in a court of law. And that takes time to prove that this is a valid forensic technique and that it upholds certain legal standards in terms of admitting it as evidence.
This morning, state police are investigating a suspicious death in Sheldon.
Investigators were on scene on Bedard Road Wednesday after getting calls about an unresponsive man. They say the victim, 55-year-old Matthew Turner, died at the scene. An autopsy was completed yesterday, but we do not know the results yet. We do know the medical examiner believes the death is suspicious, so we will update you as we get more information. Stick with us for that.
Yep, and a busy night for firefighters in Bennington after a home erupts in flames here. That fire just broke out at a residential building at 708 Main Street. That was actually before 5:30 last night. Took 2 hours for crews to get that under control. First responders say a 65-year-old woman was living there and she was hurt while trying to get out. She's taken to Southwest Vermont Medical Center for treatment. There's no word on the extent of her injuries, but we're told they're not life-threatening.
Over in Plattsburgh, the trial continues in a homicide case.
That's right. And prosecutors say 61-year-old Timothy Timmons killed a 40-year-old Jafari Joseph out of jealousy and anger. That was last December. The defense says a fight led to Joseph's murder, but it wasn't Timmons who pulled the trigger. His ex-wife, Kelly Timmons, says Joseph came over to her house on Fuller Road in Peru that afternoon. Timmons says she was scared after Joseph mentioned he had a gun, and her friends and family says he was dangerous. That's when she says she locked herself in a room. That was all out of fear.
That's right. So she says she heard her ex-husband, Tim, arrive and seemingly joke with Joseph, but she says it turned violent and she could hear Timmons yelling at Joseph before firing multiple shots. In the video she recorded from her locked room, and that played out in court, Joseph can be heard crying before Timmons allegedly fired that gun again. Now, as we said, that trial does continue today, so you can expect updates on that on the news tonight. Now, this morning, Israel and Hamas are one major step closer to ending their 2-year-long war. Yesterday, two parties and the U.S. announced a Phase 1 ceasefire deal that calls for the release of all of the remaining Israeli hostages. On social media, President Trump referred to the agreement's terms as the first steps towards a strong, durable, and everlasting peace. And later in a TV interview, the president said the hostages will probably be released on Monday. We're going to go to CBS News' Bradley Blackburn for more on that from New York.
Celebrations in Tel Aviv and Gaza after the U.S., Israel, and Hamas said they've struck a Phase 1 deal for a ceasefire and hostage release. President Trump took a victory lap last night on Fox News.
This is peace in the Middle East, and it's an incredible thing.
This video shows the moment President Trump told family members that the hostages will likely be released early next week.
The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
The White House says the Phase 1 deal calls for Israel to withdraw its forces behind an agreed-upon line within 24 hours. Once that happens, Hamas will have 72 hours to release remaining hostages, including the bodies of the dead. Israel believes 20 of the remaining 48 hostages are still alive. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is convening his government today to approve the deal, calling it a national and moral victory for Israel. Meanwhile, Hamas says the deal will also lead to the exchange of Palestinian prisoners and the entry of more aid into Gaza.
Gaza, we believe, is going to be a much safer place, and it's going to be a place that reconstructs.
This announcement comes just more than 2 years since the bloody Hamas attack on Israel that killed about 1,200 people, with another 251 taken hostage. The Hamas-run health ministry says more than 67,000 Palestinians have been killed during Israel's offensive in Gaza. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
All right, Peter, let's talk weather here. Right?
Talk weather.
Hopefully it's better than what's happening in this building right now. But, we had a good amount of rain last few days. But is it enough, really, to what we need?
No, some places were actually lucky enough to pick up over 2 inches of rain here Tuesday night into Wednesday. Unfortunately, a lot of places are running between 4 and even 6-inch deficits when it comes to rainfall. So not enough to quite get us out of the drought situation, but hey, any rain that we can basically squeeze out at this point, welcome news. But we're dry out there to start off the day today. The one thing you'll notice, though, is temperatures are definitely a bit cooler. Most of us starting off the day with temperatures in the 30s and low to mid 40s stepping out the door. To cold spot this morning, Saranac Lake once again starting off the day in the upper 20s. While we're definitely chilly out there to start off the day today, we're actually a bit cooler here into the day tomorrow. More on that in just a second. We do have some frost advisories up, really right along the spine of the Green Mountains, highlighted in that light blue color. Also notice that purple color. That is a freeze warning running until 8 o'clock this morning. So hopefully you had the opportunity to cover up or bring indoors any of those frost-sensitive plants here through the night last night, just because, we are waking up to that chill in the air this morning. Otherwise, though, weather-wise, we're pretty quiet out there. Satellite and radar scanning things completely dry across the area. Nothing to talk about in terms of precip, and, very little even in terms of cloud cover out there. Here's how we shape up through the rest of the day today. We stay dry, we stay sunny here as we head through the rest of your day on this Thursday. And again, a continuation of that into your day tomorrow as well. Blue skies and sunshine for your day on Friday. The big story here weather-wise over, the next 24 to 48 hours are going to be the cooler temps. As a matter of fact, take a look at this. Most of us today only talking high temperatures in the upper 40s and low to mid 50s this afternoon. Then take a look at where we fall here overnight and early tomorrow morning. Most of us tomorrow going to start off the day with temperatures in the upper 20s and low to mid 30s. This graph is for Burlington. Notice it shows us pretty close to that freezing mark here early tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning's lows, a lot of places, even in the Champlain Valley, starting off near or below that freezing mark. You get outside the Champlain Valley, a lot of places starting off the day, temperatures in the 20s. Wanted to also point out the Adirondacks, northern New Hampshire. They could potentially start off tomorrow morning here in the upper teens. So this is when you start talking about hard freeze territory, and that is why the bulk of the area has that freeze warning in place, that running until 8 o'clock here tomorrow morning. Notice, though, how the Adirondacks, the Northeast Kingdom, and northern New Hampshire are not included. That is just because their growing season has come to a close. Wanted to quickly explain the difference between a frost advisory and a freeze warning. Frost advisory, which many of us are under today, that usually means temperatures between 33 and 39 degrees Fahrenheit, but once you start getting into freeze warning territory, what we're talking about tomorrow, yeah, that's when you typically see the temperatures at or below that freezing mark, and cold-sensitive plants likely killed if left outdoors here through the night tonight. Once we get through the cold, the big story weather-wise becomes the rain that we start to talk about late Sunday night and into the start of next week. You can see that chance of rain increasing to 60% here for the day on Monday. That's higher than what we talked about yesterday. Here's how things shape up here as we head into the weekend. We're dry here for the day on Saturday. We're primarily dry for the day Sunday as well, but notice the increased cloud cover here for Sunday afternoon. That's as a coastal system begins to line up off to our south. Coastal New England starts to get in on a little bit of rain here as we head towards Sunday afternoon. We start to see some of those rain showers late Sunday night and early Monday morning. Rain showers continuing on and off here through the day on Monday before we're left a little bit drier into the day Tuesday. Right now, the model's not in the best agreement when it comes to this coastal system, but something that we're going to continue to keep an eye on here as we head through the next several days. Here's that forecast for the rest of the day today. Temperatures pretty cool out there. Most of us in the mid to upper 40s and lower 50s. Tonight, overnight lows, they're going to fall back into the 20s and 30s out there. So yeah, potentially hard freeze territory. That's why we do have that first alert weather day in place for the day Friday. We're quiet for the weekend, but then the rain showers chances for Sunday into Monday. We're going to be right back on the other side of this break.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Peter. We're going to go right to... Welcome back. Changes at the Howard Center, Safe Recovery Center. are just a few weeks after the WCAX special report we did.
That's right. The
Yeah.
facility provides drug users with clean needles and pipes. The Howard Center says it helps keep people safe and serves as a location for people to get connected with recovery resources. Now, we've also previously reported on concerns from neighbors about open drug use and crime on Clark Street, where that Safe Recovery Center is located.
That's right. Now, days after the special report by Channel 3's Ike Ben David, Howard Center officials say they're no longer giving out pipes to the Safety Recovery Center. Now, they blame state funding, which they say is running out. That provides legal harm reduction services like needles and pipes for smoking drugs like meth and crack cocaine. But now they say those services will end at the end of the month. The Howard Center says they still have the funding to continue the needle exchange program. Ike Ben David reached out to the state for a comment on the funding reduction. We haven't gotten a response back yet. He also told this decision will not have any impact on the future of overdose prevention centers in Burlington.
So this morning, we're also learning more about the pedestrian who was hit by a car in Burlington a couple of weeks ago. 24-year-old Kaylee Aceto was hit while walking along South Winooski Ave, that's right downtown, when a car drove up on the sidewalk and hit her from behind. Channel 3's Cam Smith spoke with those who know Aceto on Wednesday. Here's the story.
Those who know Callie say she's intelligent, kind, gentle, and always has a smile on her face. Right now, she's receiving treatment at Spalding Rehab in Boston. Her family tells me she's paralyzed from the waist down. On one of Burlington's busiest streets, tire tracks still remain carved into the grass outside of the First Congregational Church on South Winooski Avenue.
I remember I had picked up the phone, hello, just being silly and goofy, and I could tell in the tone of Joanne's voice that something was wrong.
Megan Collins, a friend of the Aceto family, spoke with Aceto's mom, Joanne, who told her Callie had been hit by a car.
I could not believe it. It's very surreal when something like this happens to someone that you know. And it was very hard for me to get it into my head and believe that this actually happened.
Surveillance cameras in the area captured the moments just before the crash. Police say 37-year-old Sean Littlefield drove off the road on the sidewalk. You see Aceto walking just ahead of his car just seconds before he hits her from behind. Littlefield told police he lost control of his car when he had a seizure, but police say they found evidence in the car leading them to believe he had inhaled nitrous oxide or whippets. Court paperwork states Callie had left work at the Flynn and was walking here to Centennial Field to get a ride home from her mom. Callie also works here for the Lake Monsters in the box office selling tickets on game day.
She's one of the first people that fans interact with, and so you want that first interaction to be a positive one, and people love coming out to the Lake Monsters games, and she's one of the reasons.
Aceto moved to Vermont with her mom from Wisconsin after COVID. Those who know her say she always has a smile on her face, is hardworking, deep loving, and passionate about sports.
She always has a nice thing to say. She's funny, she's witty. She's just like her mom, strong and resilient.
Collins says right now Aceto is just beginning her recovery at Spalding Rehab in Boston. Over the next 6 to 8 weeks, Aceto will undergo therapy, but it's likely she'll never walk again.
It's going to be a long road ahead for the both of them, but I know the Aceto girls are strong gals, and they will get through this.
While she's receiving treatment in Boston, an organization called Help Hope Live has started a campaign to raise money for the Aceto family. Right now, they've raised just over $12,000. If you'd like to help, there's a link on our website at WCAX.com. In the newsroom, Cam Smith, Channel 3 News.
And, after lawmakers in Washington failed to break a stalemate again yesterday, the government shutdown is now entering its 9th day. Now, some lawmakers are now considering smaller funding bills to reopen only parts of the government. CBS News' Bradley Blackburn has that story. We'll pull it up for you in just a second here.
The motion upon reconsideration is not agreed to.
In the Senate, a Republican bill to fund the government again failed yesterday to get the needed 60 votes to pass. Democrats are pushing for the extension of health care subsidies that Republicans have refused for now.
If you want our votes for the budget, you've got to make sure that you don't ruin the health care system this fall.
The difference is they're trying to hold us hostage. No, we want to have a debate about how to do it right, and save the taxpayers' money.
With the two sides locked in, the Senate's top Republican has now suggested he could hold votes on standalone bills to fund parts of the government, including a defense appropriations bill. More than 1 million active duty troops could miss their next paycheck if the shutdown continues.
Government shutdown.
In San Francisco, tourists were turned away from the National Park Service's Alcatraz Island, while in Chicago, federal workers held a rally.
We are standing together, many of us unpaid, but all of us unbroken.
And concerns continue for many passengers at the nation's airports.
With the shutdown, I'm worried about do they have enough air traffic controllers to make sure that we're going to get there safely.
This week, airports in Nashville, Dallas, Boston, and other cities have all seen slowdowns from staffing issues and call-outs. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
And this morning we have new details about a double homicide in northern New Hampshire.
That's right. Police say 67-year-old Cindy Moody from Bath and her daughter, 39-year-old Crystal Moody of West Fairleigh, Vermont, were both shot in the chest. It happened at a home on Tyler Way in Bath. Police say they found Cindy's brother-in-law, 73-year-old Charles Chuck Reddy, outside with a gun. Reddy was in court yesterday, accused of murdering his two family members. Police say Reddy claimed they threatened him, so he shot them. He's now charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. He did not enter any pleas in court.
And the family of a missing Fairhaven woman has upped the reward for information leading to her whereabouts and a conviction for those that are involved in her disappearance. Ashley Goodrich has been missing since October 17th, 2021. Her family is now offering $25,000 to try and drum up new leads in that case. If you know anything, Fairhaven Police would like to hear from you.
And we're following up on an investigation out of Wallingford where state police say they found a body near a home on Monday on Nash Drive, excuse me. That's the same home they responded to just last month for an alleged domestic assault where Rodney Davis allegedly ran away with a firearm into the woods. Now, authorities weren't able to positively identify those remains, so we aren't sure if they're Davis's or not. The body was sent to the medical examiner's office, and that investigation is ongoing.
So we do have some good news this morning. A missing Vermont man has been found alive and well in Quebec. Vermont State Police said 84-year-old Jean-Claude Fateau was last seen at his Canaan home Tuesday morning. They said his disappearance was not suspicious, but that there were concerns for his welfare. Last night, troopers say Fateau was found in Saint-Hermenegilde, Quebec. He was cleared medically in Canada and returned to Canaan to be reunited with his family.
Yeah, certainly some good news there. Yesterday, crews from the Fire and Explosion Investigation Unit were at the building on Clapper Road to figure out what happened at that fire in Milton. Now, crews say the debris found farther from the building made them want to investigate and take a closer look. One person was taken to the hospital with significant injuries. Now, police say they haven't been able to interview them yet as they're just still in the hospital. And they haven't been able to, we'll kind of update you as we get more information on this story.
Yeah. A Massachusetts man agrees to plead guilty the day before his case was set to go to trial. Raul Cardona pleaded guilty to manslaughter for the August 2022 murder of Patrick Mulinex. Investigators say Cardona shot Mulinex 3 times after an argument in his Bennington apartment, killing him. Police at the time said Cardona had been on their radar for selling drugs in the area. After entering the plea deal, Cardona asked the victim's family for forgiveness. And that's all we have for right now. We will be right back after this break. Welcome back, everyone, to our abridged version of Channel 3 this morning. Some tech difficulties, so we are here at our auxiliary desk, but we appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been here. Welcome back, huh?
Yeah, welcome back. Well, this morning we are visiting Vermont's own Orwell.
That's right. Well, the Addison County town of about 1,200 people has deep roots in agriculture with several farms and a key Revolutionary War history location, too. Mount Independence was the largest fortification by American colonial forces and the site of British and American battles from 1776 to 1777. It's now a state historic site. And now, after another piece of local history closed in town last year, there's a push to bring it back, and that's back better than ever.
That's right. Here's Kat Villanzoni.
It's quiet outside what used to be Buxton's General Store on Orwell's Main Street. The red closed sign stays that way now. A far cry from a year ago when cash registers were ringing and customers were still coming through the doors to grab groceries, goods, and gossip. But the Buxton family made the tough decision to close after 57 years, citing family and financial pressures.
It was a big blow. It was a really big blow.
Peter Root has only lived in town a couple of years, but said the store and the community feel drew him and his wife in. When he was asked to be part of the effort to bring a general store back here, he said he actually wasn't sold on the idea at first. But he says the community needs a spot to grab groceries that isn't 20 minutes away.
The more I talk to people, that comes back every single conversation. They really miss the store.
But flipping this sign from closed back to open is going to be a tall task, and they know it. They say they are aware that the current climate for general stores in Vermont isn't exactly favorable, and that there are some big things they'll have to do to make sure that this spot could be financially stable in the future. But they say they think they have some ideas.
There's a whole host of things. Everybody in town's got an idea about something they'd like to see.
And that's one of their ideas. Diversify to draw more people in with more offerings. And to fundraise enough to allow their nonprofit to buy and fix up the building so the new business wouldn't have to.
If it doesn't have the debt, that burden, and people want to come back to it for a host of reasons, looking at other stores around the state, we think there's a chance.
We asked people passing through town what it would mean to have a general store again here.
It just adds to the community environment, and you'd meet people there and chat and visit, and we miss that.
What would it mean to you to see it back in some form?
First of all, I'd probably gain a few pounds in the first couple of weeks. That's a definite possibility. But yeah, it would mean lunch breaks in town again instead of sneaking out of town for lunch.
If that sign were to switch back to open in the future, what would that mean for you?
That would be great. It would be really terrific to have that, to have the store open here again, to have a place to come and meet people.
Well, the nonprofit's work is still in the early stages. They've just applied for a Village Trust Initiative grant from the state, and just last week they had a visit from that committee. They got a small grant to do a building assessment to find out what work needs to be done. That's underway now. And they fundraised enough to pay for the right of first refusal on the building, which is currently for sale for about $500,000. But they don't know how much money they'd need to raise to buy and renovate it. Next week in Vermont's own, Darren Perrin takes us up to the Kingdom, and actually as far northeast as you can go in Vermont. You can see the Fall Fun that's in full swing in Canaan next Wednesday at 6. Meanwhile, 30 Vermont schools have been recognized for their efforts to create asthma-healthy environments.
That's right. On Wednesday, the Vermont Health Department released a list of schools in Vermont working to improve air quality, reduce triggers, and train staff to help students with asthma manage their symptoms. Now, the health department says asthma rates in Vermont are due in part to older and poorly ventilated buildings and high rates of tobacco use. It's all part of an effort to keep students healthy. Schools interested in becoming an asthma-friendly environment can make changes like ensuring school nurses know the students with asthma have an action plan and train staff in asthma management and emergencies. Now, they can also take steps to improve air quality on campus and use safer cleaning products. The deadline for nominating your school is May 31st. We have more information on our website at WCAX.com.
And I don't know about you, but I'm still looking back fondly on the rain we saw yesterday. Of course, it was much needed rain that we've seen over the past couple of days, and that rain also gives farmers a boost ahead of the winter months, as our Adam Sullivan reports.
The recent heavy rain here in the Upper Valley comes at the perfect time for farmers who are already thinking about next year's crop.
With the frost, we don't want it to freeze inside the pump.
Ben Dana and a co-worker pull an intake pipe from the Connecticut River. The
The Route 5 farm is on the waterfront. But with this year's drought, the pump and employees have been working overtime to get the water to the fields.
It was bad for us, but there's always somebody with a dry well or, unable to flush their toilets or whatever. So I was always thinking about that.
Vegetables are still being harvested at the Fairley farm, but recent rain is soaking new cover crops that help regenerate the soil for spring planting.
Another term could be green manure. So we grow nitrogen with cover crops, or they create the nitrogen.
Up the road at the Newmont farm, thousands of cows get their daily feeding. The drought has impacted both the corn and hay crops.
Our last cutting, we were probably 30 to 40% of a normal cut.
Puddles in the fields are a welcome sight for both cover crops and next year's haylage.
To give it the moisture it needs to go through the winter and not winter kill to some degree, and have next spring a bunch of ground that we need to reseed.
Pumpkins from the Newmont farm are sold at the Crossroad Farm Stand in Norwich. By the looks of the bounty there, you would never know that farmers have been dealing with drought conditions. Rob Rinaldi popped in for some fresh tomatoes.
Not only is it critical to keep the farms going, but it's way better produce.
And focusing on the positive, Route 5 farmers say little rain often means less fungus.
We don't spray for funguses, so we just are subject to them, and sometimes you get a loss. But this year, for instance, our winter squash crop was fungus-free.
And farmers say another silver lining to the dry weather is all that sun, which they say crops soak up just like water. Reporting from Fairley, Adam Sullivan, Channel 3 News.
Definitely some silver lining there.
Yeah, he said it.
Yeah, it's some great news. Obviously, farm stands very busy this time of year. A lot of people trying to get out and do their fall activities, and it's good to know that they have some fruit and veggies to sell here.
Yeah, some welcome rain that we saw here the last several days. Unfortunately, we don't have too much ahead of us over the next coming few days, but we do have a little bit more to talk about over in the 7-day forecast. More on that in just a second. For now, though, I wanted to show you what we're going to be talking about here temperature-wise as we head through the next several days. This is going to be the big weather story. Temperatures here for the day today going to be on the cooler side. Most of us talking daytime highs, upper 40s and low to mid 50s out there. Want to show you, though, where we fall here through the night tonight. Temperatures dipping back into the 30s here come daybreak tomorrow morning. As a matter of fact, that's for the Champlain Valley, pretty close to that freezing mark. Once you start to get outside the Champlain Valley, I think a lot of places tomorrow morning starting off the day with temperatures in the 20s. So definitely going to want to bring indoors any of those plants that you still have outside that are still alive for that matter. Here's what we're waking up to tomorrow morning. Again, pretty close to that freezing mark in the Champlain Valley. Away from that, a lot of us starting off the day tomorrow morning, temperatures in the low to mid-20s. However, look at the Adirondacks. Look at northern New Hampshire, potentially starting the day tomorrow with temperatures in the teens and 20s. With that in mind, we do have a freeze warning up for the vast majority of the area, with the exception, though, of the Adirondacks, the Northeast Kingdom, as well as northern New Hampshire, just because the National Weather Service has now deemed that their growing season is over. So what is the difference between a frost advisory, which is what a lot of us have up today? That usually means temperatures between 33 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit. Freeze warning, less than that freezing mark, and that's what a lot of us are talking about tomorrow. Next chance at rain showers comes Sunday night into Monday. Here's how the system lines up. The bulk of the weekend spent dry. Start to see a few more clouds into Sunday afternoon as a coastal system begins to make its arrival across southern New England. That rain begins to enter our neck of the woods here as we head towards late Sunday night, early Monday morning. Rain showers continuing here through the day on Monday before wrapping up here into Tuesday. Here's that forecast, though, for the rest of the day today. Temperatures definitely on the cooler side today. A lot of us talking daytime highs, upper 40s and low to mid 50s out there. Plenty of sunshine overhead. Tonight we fall back into the 20s and 30s. That's why we're talking about that potentially hard freeze here. We do have a first alert weather day up for tomorrow because of that hard freeze. We're quiet for the weekend. A bit more cloud cover Sunday. The rain showers make their arrival Sunday night, continuing into Monday. Dry again Tuesday, a little bit more rain shower activity here for the day on Wednesday. So the good news is there is some more rain to talk about as we head towards the tail end of the 7-day forecast.
Yeah, definitely some good news there. Maybe I don't know if it's quite enough, but hey, look,
No.
it's better than nothing.
Any rain that we get at this point, probably good news and welcome news for a lot of people.
Definitely, and I have to agree too because fall is supposed to be like soup season. And
Yeah.
it's pretty tough to eat
Yeah.
soup if we're talking about 80-degree weather.
Well, we're not talking the 80s anymore. That is now long gone.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Peter.
Yep.
And thank you guys for watching WCAX. Obviously, this is our bridge newscast, and hopefully we'll kind of remedy some of these problems as the morning goes on. Well,
We hope to have better news for you at noon.
Yep.
So thanks for sticking with us, guys.
Take care.